Have you ever considered what would happen if an emergency struck your workplace during work hours? Fire alarms blaring, lights flashing, people panicking and rushing for the exits? Now imagine trying to navigate that situation if you were blind, deaf, had limited mobility, or experienced high anxiety in chaotic environments. Hi, I'm Denis Boudreau. I work with leaders and executives who are no longer willing to overlook disability inclusion and want to transform their leadership approach from inclusive-ish to truly inclusive by championing accessibility. Let's talk about emergency preparedness today, because if your organization's emergency plan doesn't account for employees with disabilities, it's not really a plan. It's a catastrophe waiting to happen. You may already know that according to the CDC, over 28% of adults in the US self-identify as having at least one disability. In Canada, it's more than 27% of the population, based on similar data from Statistics Canada. Yet, most emergency plans assume that everyone can see, hear, move quickly, and process information the same way under stress, which is both a very biased and dangerous assumption. So typically, where do the biggest gaps appear? Often emergency exits, stairwell access, and evacuation procedures are designed without considering mobility impairments. Fire alarms are primarily visual and auditory, leaving out those with vision or hearing disabilities. And when plans rely on loud, fast-paced verbal instructions, some neurodivergent employees or those with anxiety may very well struggle to react in the moment. Consider Vivian. She's an older manager experiencing age-related vision and hearing loss, along with early signs of osteoarthritis. She works in a downtown office where the emergency evacuation plan assumes that employees can hear the alarms and descend multiple flights of stairs without assistance when elevators are no longer an option. During a recent fire drill, Vivian didn't hear the alarm clearly and only realized something was wrong when she noticed people moving toward the exits. She struggled to keep up as employees rushed past her, and when she reached the stairwell, she hesitated. The steep steps, combined with her arthritis, made the descent overwhelming and excruciatingly painful. She felt disoriented, wobbly, unsafe, and entirely on her own as people kept pushing past her. Now imagine what might have happened to Vivian if this hadn't been a drill, and in the midst of all of that chaos, people had actually been jostling down the stairs while running for their lives. This is why inclusive emergency planning is absolutely critical. But the good news is it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't take much for you to make a big difference. First, leaders can begin by designing emergency plans that consider all of their workforce. Work directly with employees with disabilities to identify barriers and solutions that you might be unaware of. Not all disabilities are visible, so assuming that no one needs extra support can put real lives at risk. Second, make sure emergency systems are multimodal. Fire alarms should have both visual and auditory signals, and emergency communication should include written, verbal, and digital formats to reach the broadest range of people possible. Assign trained safety coordinators who understand accessibility needs and can be trusted to assist when necessary. And finally, make sure to conduct inclusive emergency drills. A plan is only effective if it actually works in real scenarios. Practice evacuations should involve all employees with accommodations in place so that when a real emergency happens, everyone knows exactly what to do and can feel reasonably supported and safe. That's what true emergency preparedness looks like. It's not just about having a theoretical plan on paper. It's about ensuring that every single employee has a safe, effective way to respond in the case of an emergency. So here's your challenge for this week. Take a fresh look at your existing emergency plans. Do they assume that everyone can move, see, hear, or process information the same way? If so, what's one step that you can take to make it more inclusive and acknowledge the Vivians on your team who also matter? I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced or witnessed an emergency situation where accessibility turned out to be an issue? If so, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're ready to move beyond inclusive-ish and start leading with purpose, hit subscribe and join me for more insights on inclusive leadership. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.